Hello students, today I am going to start this particular chapter with the cartoon TV series, an animated feature film, right? I'm just going to show you the image, I'm not going to share with you this particular film, right? And in this image you can see Winnie the Pooh and his friends. Well, how is this particular image related to the chapter which we are going to start? Let us find out. Well, first thing I'm going to tell you is to observe this image and relate it to democratic politics. Will it be possible? Let's find out. I'm also going to do the same thing and tell you the points which I am going to observe. Right. So, the very first thing which I see in this image is Winnie the Pooh and his friends. Alright, his friends Piglet, Rabbit, Tigger, Kanga, Roo, Eeyore, Owl, and Christopher Robin. Well, frankly speaking, I can't actually observe Christopher Robin in this image. Can you? Well, another thing which I observe in this image, it's a happy picture. Even though all the animals in this image are different, they're happy because they have their freedom. Freedom to enjoy, to live life as per the rules set by them. Even though I can see tiger in this image, there is no dominance of this animal on a piglet or on kangaroo or on donkey. Nobody is superior or inferior. The protection of individual liberty, that is what I see in this image. It promotes welfare too, correct? General welfare. There is no insecurity or violence which I can observe in this image. They are following their rights. Each one has their share of food. Nobody seems greedy or has urge of stealing anyone's food. They are using their liberty appropriately by staying in their limits. Now let us move on to the next image. Alright, now let's see what's this second image telling us. There are again two animals which I can see, correct? In the left image, I can see a cat. It's not at all happy with the type of food which is served to it. I think so you can relate to this image, right? And what about the second image? You can see there are hoardings over there and there's a barbed wire. Okay, your mother is calling, no visitors, do not disturb. Yes. So you can see that these two animals in this particular image on the screen are not at all happy with the type of rules and regulations which have been set by them by their parents or by the superior authority. That is what are the words which I should use if I'm going to relate it to democratic politics. Alright, now let's move on to the next image. Now, let's find out what these two images on this particular slide are trying to tell us. Okay, now we know that Tom and Jerry are the favorite characters from the animated series. Even today, we find that there is a version of Tom and Jerry, a modern version of Tom and Jerry, which is today even shown on the cartoon show. Alright, the channel, the cartoon channel, correct? Now, on the left hand side image, I can see that there are three little kittens which are going to overpower or trying to overpower Tom. How does it represent the democratic politics part? Well, I'll say Tom is the central government and three little kittens are the state government. If they come together, can they overpower central government? It's actually a question to ponder upon or think. What is about this second image which is on the right hand side? Well, over here I can see that Tom and Jerry have decided to stop their fighting and come together as friends. For me, it represents the center state relation. Alright, now let's begin with our chapter Federalism and find out what does federalism actually mean and what is the center state relation in our country. Okay, do we have equal power sharing? Do we share equal power among the state and also among our central government? Let's find out from the next slide. James Madison is known as the father of the Constitution, while B.R. Ambedkar is known as father of the Indian Constitution. When both these architects drafted the Constitution in their attempt to balance order with liberty, these founders identified several reasons for creating a federalistic government: to avoid tyranny, to allow more participation in politics, and to use the state as laboratories for new ideas and programs. James Madison pointed out that if factious leaders kindle a flame within their particular state, national leaders can check the spread of the conflagration to other states. So, federalism prevents a person that takes control of a state from easily taking control of the federal government as well. So, if we have a federal government, if we follow a federal structure, then it is possible to control a factious leader or a factious leader in one particular state. Central government can actually keep a check on the state government. If there is a problem in any of the state, which can actually create a problem in other regions as well. For example, any religious issue which has been taken up in any of the states and there are riots, so these riots should not spread in any other states, and central government in a way can actually control it if we have a federalistic government. Let's take one example from the previous chapter. Constitution of Belgium was to reduce the power of the central government and to give these powers to the regional government. Regional government has their roles and powers, but all these powers were given to the regional government but could be withdrawn by the central government at any point of time. So, what's the use of these powers, right? But the change that took place in 1993 was that the regional government were given constitutional powers, that they were no longer dependent on the central government, a separate state power, all right, separate set of powers. Thus, Belgium shifted from a unitary to a federal form of government. Sri Lanka continues to be, for all practical purposes, a unitary system where the national government has all the powers. Tamil leaders want Sri Lanka to become a federal system. Let's move on to the next slide and analyze this a further more. Now, what are the key changes made in the Constitution of Belgium? It was to reduce the power of the central government and to give these powers to the regional government, right? So from this image we can understand that the regional government is getting separate powers, different set of powers, and it no longer is subordinate to the central government, all right? Sri Lanka continues to be, for all practical purposes, a unitary system where the national government has all the powers. Tamil leader wants Sri Lanka to become a federal system. In the image which is shown over here, the caricatures which you are seeing, you can see that the central government has a big plate, alright, the person who is representing the central government has big share of unitary, correct, and the person who has a plate in his hand called federal is the image of a Tamil leader, all right, and the Tamil in Sri Lanka want that Sri Lanka should follow a federal structure. You can also see over here on the right hand side of the central government, on the right hand side of unitary, that there are two small caricatures which also again represent the Sri Lankan Tamils, and they represent that they are in minority over here. So as Sri Lanka follows majoritarianism, so the Tamils in Sri Lanka are not getting their rights, and they're trying to fight to get their rights, saying that Sri Lanka should get converted, should follow a federal structure, correct? So, what is this unitary form of government? As we have heard, in Sri Lanka, they follow a unitary form of government. So, it is only one level of government, subunits are subordinated, and center can pass orders to local government. We'll discuss about it furthermore in the next part.